The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Davante Adams had a lot to say about the state of the New York Jets as the Jets are playing what feels like a must-win on Sunday in Arizona. We'll talk about that and much more when Jets insider Nick Faria joins us in his weekly spot on the show. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
We didn't let the outside noise and world divide us. That game right there represents exactly where the process of this thing is. We're all we got. We're all we need, man. That's it.
Your first win, man.
Yeah!
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and that's the way you might be able to get a gifted membership sent your way at some point during today's show. Joining us right now in his weekly spot is Jets beat reporter Nick Faria. Nick, take two after some tech issues on take one. Appreciate you sticking around and doing this.
Yeah, you guys, I'm sure you guys can hear me now, but glad everything got fixed and glad I can be back on.
So we'll get to what Davante Adams said on the Up and Adams show in just a bit. But yesterday you were there. Joe Douglas spoke for the first time since this season began. What were some of your takeaways after hearing from the Jets general manager yesterday?
Well, I think to me personally, and you can even look at the video at times from some other reporters, the main point that I will say is that it looked and sounded a little uncomfortable. The GM, was not given prior notice. He was not asked about the Robert Saleh firing, and you kind of saw that it was a Woody Johnson decision, something that the Jets owner decided to do on his own with his guys, and left Joe Douglas out of it. So that was a very interesting point. And of course, Joe Douglas's contract expires after the season. What does a new contract look like? Would he be willing to come back to the Jets? All these different things. He's not focusing on that right now. It really felt, just watching through it, listening through it again, it really felt that he was in an uncomfortable situation, whether right or wrong, indifferent, doesn't really matter. But it was a really uncomfortable situation because it seems like even he knows that this could be the final 2 months of his job if the Jets cannot turn this season around. It just seems like not so much a dead man walking type of thing, but just a very uncomfortable vibe of, yeah, I know this is it for me if I can't figure this out, if our team can't figure this out right now.
Nick, do you believe that barring any run to a playoff spot, Joe Douglas is gone no matter what? Is there a path where, hey, they're 8-9, they don't make the playoffs, but they played a lot better after a 2-6 start? He could actually be here next year and pick the next head coach. How do you view his future given some of the scenarios that are out there?
I think his future, like much of the Jets franchise right now, is pretty clouded. Even, you throw in Woody Johnson. What is his ownership going to look like now that Donald Trump has become president? Is he going to be going back and being the ambassador again? Will Chris Johnson be running the show from now on? That's a big question that needs to be answered. You look at the rest of the roster, there are a lot of team players on expiring contracts. To me right now, I look at the Jets as just a giant question mark for the future. No one knows exactly who's going to be running the show. No one knows who's going to be in that situation. So, while I do think that Douglas probably won't be fired or anything like that, I still think that it's very, very likely that if they can't make the playoffs, if they can't finish above 500, there's a strong likelihood that his contract is not renewed next year.
We're talking with Nick Faria in his weekly spot. We're presented today by Huga House. Folks, Huga House has 6 brand new hats available for you to purchase. Use promo code Asman and you'll save 15% off on any of their awesome hats. Buy one hat from Huga House. The second hat is 30% off. Go to huegahouse.com and use that promo code to take full advantage. Nick, I want to play you a cut from Davante Adams earlier this week. He was a guest on the Up and Adams show, a show he goes on every single week. And Kay asked Davante what the vibes were like around Aaron Rodgers and the Jets inside the Jet building.
What's he like right now? What's Aaron's energy like?
It's real similar to, I think it was 2016 run the table type vibes.
Really?
Just that type of energy. He's not, create more slogans and all of that stuff. I mean, we've had many years where, it's run the table, then it was the relax and all those. I'm not saying there's going to be another run the table part 2 or something like that, but it's definitely that type of energy. I think everybody, myself included, we all locked in different in the second half. So if we can all, find a way to just, I don't know what the word is, but just hold on to that feeling that we all had there and that we left that game with, will be a dangerous team.
Run the table. Are you getting the vibes that Davante's getting? That the Jets would be capable of doing such a thing, Nick?
Yes and no. I do see a shift in momentum for the Jets. That win against Houston was big. You beat a playoff team. Beating playoff teams in the regular season, no matter what your record is something that you should be proud of moving forward. So there is a sense of positivity within the organization that you can tell. And I think that the Jets, if they're smart, they're going to try to capitalize with it as much as they possibly can. The other side of the coin, though, is I think just a more logic-based conversation, and that's the reality of the Jets have won 2 in a row once this season. They have not been able to string together consistent success. And it's not so much the vibe in the locker room. It's more of just they have to show it. They have to prove to this fan base, to reporters, to analysts, to people around the NFL, that this is not just the same Jets team that will win a nice game here and there. They'll try to get back into contention, and then when you really think that you're about to buy right back in, they lose a dud to a team that they should never lose to. I have serious concerns about this team because of that fact. This Jets team is really talented. We all know that. But we have seen this season that talent has gotten them nowhere. So as much as I want to say that the vibe certainly, I feel like they have shifted, that means absolutely nothing. They have to prove it on the field. They have to beat Arizona. They have to beat Indianapolis. They have dug themselves into a massive, massive hole that few teams are able to get out of. Not saying it's impossible, but just saying that if this is a team that wants people to believe in their vibes, you got to be able to show it on the football field as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And for me, Nick, this is a game, when you look ahead to Sunday, we've seen the Jets lose so many times. They have this surprising win. They look good. It's okay, are they going to turn the corner? And then they come out flat and they lose. Last year, they beat the Texans off a 5-game losing streak as well. Then came out flat as you could be and lost to the Miami Dolphins 30-0 in what ended up being Zach Wilson's last ever game as a Jet. This year, they beat New England. They look good in that second half. They look good really the entire game that night. And then they come out and lose 10-9 at home to the Broncos that started the losing streak. So I'm with you. I do think if they could get by this game, though, there is a real path for this Jets team to get the 5-6 at the bye. And given the state of the AFC, 9 wins I do think will get you in this year. So they'd be right back in the mix, but you got to see it to believe it. That's where I'm at with this Jets team.
And I am too. Listen, I can tell you about all these great players that are playing really well this year. Will McDonald having a career year. Jamien Sherwood, Quincy Williams playing at an elite level. You have to love what you see out of Garrett Wilson, taking his emergence as a number 1 wide receiver seriously. All those things are really, really good. And they're 3-6. They're 3-6. And yes, historically speaking, teams have been able to run the table and get into the playoffs with 9-10 wins. But this shouldn't be just about making the playoffs for the Jets. I understand ending this playoff drought is important, and it's important for the future sort of vibe shift for the Jets organization. But this should be about being competitive in the playoffs, and you don't want to just be a 7th seed taking on a team like the Buffalo Bills and getting bounced out in Western New York. You want to be able to be competitive in some of these games. And the matchups right now that the Jets have, I don't see it. I don't see those matchups playing well into the Jets' hands, at least right now. They have to really show that this team is capable and willing to be able to succeed at a high level.
We're talking with Nick Faria, weekly spot on the show, Jets beat reporter, giving us some insight on the state of the team. Joe Douglas spoke yesterday. Davante Adams spoke earlier in the week. I want to play you another cut, Nick. Here's Davante talking about his new head coach.
You like your coach, yeah? We're gonna.
I love my coach.
I need to know a little bit more about him. What can you tell him? What sets him apart?
He's just a real dude.
Huh.
It's almost like he's too real for TV, which is he's when he gets at the podium, he has to do it like a coach, and I mean this in the most respectful and in best way possible. Like I love talking to him. I love the way he talks to the team. Love the way he holds guys accountable. I love the way he just goes about his job, man. It makes it more like a family type vibe than just a guy that has that position, and that's how you get guys to play for you. And I'd love if he was my coach moving forward. That's for sure. I mean, I've only been here for a short time, but Brick is a real dude, man, and I got a ton of respect for him already.
That last part's interesting, right? Let's say the Jets do turn this around. You got one of the best players on the team, future Hall of Famer, saying, I'd love it if he was my coach going forward. Is the only way Jeff Ulbrich back next year as the permanent head coach of the team is if they make the playoffs, Nick, or is there any other path to it? Your thoughts there?
No, I think it has to be playoffs. If they're able to make the playoffs with Jeff Ulbrich, then the conversation can at least happen where Ulbrich could be named as the full-time head coach of the New York Jets. And I still think that even if that were to happen, the Jets should take a very long, hard look at their roster and still go through an interview process without just giving Jeff Ulbrich the job. You are seeing now in some cases like the Las Vegas Raiders, where they were pretty good under Antonio Pierce last season. They were all in on him. Everyone was happy to have him on the team, and it's blown up in their face. So even if they make the playoffs with Jeff Ulbrich and they can turn this around, I still think the Jets should do their due diligence and see what else is out there and available.
Who would be some of the guys you would look at? I know we still got plenty of time before this all really would get underway here, but obviously with a lost Sunday, that's going to be the focus. So your thoughts on the coaching landscape and some appealing options potentially for the Jets.
Well, I still say Slowick, the Houston Texans offensive coordinator, is someone that the Jets should be able to take an eye on. Offensive-minded guy. Listen, Jets fans, they want a veteran coach. They want a coach that's done it before and won before. But personally, I'm of the opinion that when you have a young, inexperienced coach that's a play caller, especially on the offensive side, you can do some really great things. A lot of coaches like that have happened and grown in recent years, and they've been able to be successful. I think the Jets could have that if they're just patient enough to allow that to happen. So Slowick, I see, is one of them. One name that I continue to throw out that people aren't really sure of is Brian Johnson. He's the offensive assistant for the Washington Commanders. Has done a great job with Jaden Daniels and that entire offense. He had a really bad run in Philadelphia as the play caller, but that was more so about being under Nick Sirianni and Nick Sirianni's influence in the offense than anything else. So when I look at where the Jets should go, I think it's an offensive-minded guru. I think it's a young mind, an energetic mind, but also someone who knows how to develop quarterbacks as well, because that's the name of the game. If you got a quarterback, you have a chance to win. If you don't have much of a shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Faria with us here. If you have a comment or a question for him to address, super chat it in, and we will bring it up on the screen. Also, if you're watching live right now, click that like button, support the show. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Nick, trade deadline has come and gone. First time I've had you on since then. What was your reaction to the Jets trading Mike Williams to Pittsburgh for a 5th-round pick?
Not surprised. That kind of was the one move where if you wanted to see a soft sell of some expiring players, he was the first guy to go. If you wanted to see this team try to make the most of their overall talent, there still was really no other spot for Mike Williams. And he spoke in his introduction press conference to the Steelers, and they essentially asked him, well, what went wrong with the Jets? And his response was very candid. He had a torn ACL, and he wasn't able to build the kind of chemistry you look for with a veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. It wasn't blaming the Jets. It wasn't saying that the Jets are bad and this and that. It was just making a very clear point that his injury really hurt him this offseason. And I think most Jet fans can understand that simply for the understanding that, listen, he's an NFL veteran. Chemistry matters in the NFL. We are seeing that full time right now. So when you don't have the ability, you don't have the time to be able to work on that chemistry, that is a big, big problem. And that's why Mike Williams really struggled in New York. He's going to get some time to try and figure things out in Pittsburgh. But certainly I thought it was a very fair answer from Mike Williams. And I did think the compensation coming back to New York was very fair. A fifth-round pick for Pittsburgh sending over to the Jets, I thought that was very fair. I thought that was pretty solid as a deal overall for Joe Douglas. I was surprised that they closed the phones on DJ Reed, but it tells me that they are still believing that they can be contenders this year. So as long as they believe it and show it on the field, that won't be questioned.
What are your thoughts on Rodgers saying yesterday, Herb Charles is someone he wants to see more involved? We all figured, it could be Corley, probably would be Gibson too. Just your thoughts on what happens now with this offense. You have Garrett, you obviously have Davante, and then after that, your thoughts on the state of this wide receiver room, given Lazard's still out for at least 3 more games.
Yeah, it was an interesting answer. Herb Charles, as a special teams ace, has had an up and down year. I mean, he was brought back to replace Hardy, the special teams ace previously for the Jets. Now you're seeing him struggle a little bit. A lot more penalties this year. A lot more boneheaded plays, running into a punt returner when he clearly called fair catch. All these kinds of things. So it's interesting that the Jets would be willing to give him another shot, but not Malachi Corley, who made one mistake in his one moment this season. Now, again, it's a bad mistake. No one is saying that the Malachi Corley fumble was acceptable. It's not. It never will be. But he's a rookie. And Deshaun Jackson, when he had his fumble in the end, going into the end zone, he fumbled it, and that was his rookie season, his second full game in the NFL. And the Eagles were able to continue to give him opportunities, and he actually set the franchise record for rookie receiving yards, now since broken by Davante Smith. So I look at where the Jets need to be in terms of this third wide receiver position as a two-pronged point. First off, they shouldn't give up on Malachi Corley so easily. He is a young player. And yes, you want to hold young players accountable so they don't make the same mistake again. But at the same time, you don't just throw them out to the curb and say, you're useless to us now. You made a mistake. Sit in the doghouse for the rest of the year. That's not good development. That's not good coaching. If the Jets really, really want to build an empire of young, good players, you have to be able to play some of them even when they make a mistake. So makes a lot of sense to me for Corley to continue to get an increase in snaps, even with his mistake overall. The second point to it is that I think the wide receiver 3 position for Jet fans may be a little overrated to this point. You have Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson on the roster. Those are 2 of the best wide receivers in the National Football League today. This duo is one of the best in the league. So when you have that, you have the understanding that this is going to be most of the targets in the passing game are going to those 2 players. And then you say, well, what happens to the 5 or 10 other targets that are going to be available in the passing game? Well, then you go to Breece Hall and Tyler Conklin. You don't need to spend major money on a big, third wide receiver when you have 2 stalwarts on the roster already. And I think that's what the Jets learned the hard way this season. And I think they will continue to move so and do that moving forward.
Nick, your thoughts on Corley getting out of the doghouse and actually having some sort of role? I mean, do we see that happening? He had the great play until the drop last Thursday. I was hoping they'd go back to him at some point in that game just so we could flush that, that play from his system. They didn't. Are we going to see any Corley in your estimation on Sunday?
I think you have to. I really do. And I thought it was a mistake from the Jets to not give him the opportunity to correct that mistake. Because what does it tell a rookie where a veteran like Tyron Smith or a veteran like, Davante Adams can make a mistake, run a wrong route, miss a block, have a play that just ruins the team, but they're right back on the field? Okay, I have to prove myself. I have to get to that point, no problem. But you're not getting the opportunity to do that in the first place. So I think for the Jets, this really, really needs to be a forgive and forget type of thing where you need to make sure that this mistake never happens again. But at the same time, it has to be, if you're going to be holding players accountable, you're holding a rookie receiver more accountable than some of these other veterans. What kind of look is that for other players that are going to be joining the Jets in the future? So they really need to give Corley some touches now. Clearly, they showed that they were starting to and willing to be able to do so last game. That needs to bump up this season. And this upcoming game against the Arizona Cardinals. I just look at where the Jets are right now. You have nothing to lose. You're 3-6. Get the ball to some of your younger players and see what you have. You can't just throw people in the doghouse and pretend these guys are nothing moving forward. That's not a competent way of having and how to develop a roster.
Nick, we'll open it up now. Some comments, questions, super chats for you. 25 says, nice to hear, especially because Davante had Pierce. This in reference to Jeff Ulbrich. Your thoughts on how Ulbrich has done so far? The record's the record, but you're there. You're talking to players. What did you make of Davante specifically highlighting Ulbrich there?
Well, the entire locker room is behind Jeff Ulbrich. I think that's been pretty clear from the beginning. And with them losing games, the first three of the Jeff Ulbrich era, the majority of that point, the majority of those losses came by one score. You had the blowout, of course, to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Jets, much like with Robert Saleh, have not quit on Jeff Ulbrich. The culture there is fine. The culture is not the problem. It's about winning games and finding ways to win one-score games. The clutch teams, the dynamic contending teams are able to win one-score games no matter who they play. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're undefeated. They haven't looked very dominant this season, but they keep finding ways to win one-score games because they are so clutch when they need to be. The Jets are really like the opposite to this point. So I look at where the Jets are, and I look at what needs to happen. And this team, this locker room, yes, they're all behind Jeff Ulbrich. They need to show it in the win column if they really care about him being the full-time head coach.
ISU writes, and the best part about Adams' comments is that Ulbrich is clearly commanding the room right now.
Again, I'm not saying he isn't, but so is Robert Saleh. Like, the Jets were not quitting on Robert Saleh either. That's an objective fact. The point of emphasis is the wins have not come. So, yes, it's great to see Davante Adams, a new member to this organization, defend Jeff Ulbrich like he has, but that means absolutely nothing to a team that should be contending and is 3-6.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. If you're wondering, wait, why is Jake so early today? Well, that's because I'm going on a bachelor party later today. I'm headed across the border, Nick. I am going to Canada for the first time. So all your super chats go to the Jake Asman Poutine and Molson Fund for the weekend on this great bachelor party. Let's say hello to this comment here. K Brock writes in, got to go 6-2 down the stretch to have a shot. Let me ask you this. Do you think 9 wins gets them in, or is it going to take a 7-1 stretch to get the Jets to 10 wins?
I feel it's got to be 7-1, and here's why. 6-2, you get to 9-8. Okay, you're in the conversation. You got to jump through Denver. You got to jump through Pittsburgh, teams that you've lost to this year and do not have the tiebreaker of. You could potentially beat the Indianapolis Colts and give yourself some wiggle room. But that's easier said than done at this point. And quite frankly, 7-1 gets you to what? 10 wins? I feel a lot more comfortable about making the playoffs at 10 wins, especially in this format, as opposed to 9, where the tiebreakers are going to really be the difference. So I don't think 6-2 is going to cut it anymore. It's got to be 7-1 or better.
I look at some of the schedules for the teams in front of the Jets. Like, to me, there is a path where 9-8 gets you in. I think there's no question, though. 7-1, you're definitely in it with 10 wins.
Yep. And that's the thing. You don't want to leave it up to chance with these tiebreakers because you don't have them right now. That's why you want to make sure that it's completely solved, get the 10 wins, and see where you are.
Let me ask you this then. Let's say they do go 6-2. They finish 9-8. They miss out on the playoffs due to tiebreakers. Is everyone still gone at that point? Or would that be the one scenario where, hey, we were just a coach away. If Ulbrich was here the whole year, maybe it would have been different. Like, you see how you kind of spin what the season was? Like, how do you look, we got a long way to go before they can even go 6-2 down the stretch to get to that number. But I do look at that scenario and go, you think Chris Johnson, assuming he's the owner at that point, is like, well, am I really going to be able to find a better GM than Douglas? He did build a good team. We just need to get the right coach. Maybe we found it in Ulbrich. Do you see any path where 9-8, no playoffs, and guys are coming back next year?
So I could absolutely see that happening. I really could. I think it would be a drastic mistake by the organization. If you're unable to make the playoffs with this team, and this was the playoff mandate, like Woody Johnson said, he didn't want to put, a demands of playoffs, but essentially that's what it was. You need to be able to turn the corner, and you need to be able to say, okay, this isn't working. He's had the opportunities. You got to move on from it. So again, this isn't to say that he's bad, that, these coaches are bad or anything else. But just because you had a great run down the stretch doesn't mean you're going to be successful in 2024. It just means you had a nice little run there. You got to be able to make the moves and understand in the vacuum that it wasn't good enough this season. I still think everyone would be gone if they finish 9-8 and make the playoff and miss the playoffs.
Mr. Bonji says, Jake, I heard all about the beautiful friends you'll meet this weekend and go crazy over $2 bills. Yeah, maybe you have, Bonesy. Maybe you haven't. Yeah. Need some more super chats for you, Bones, if you want to support my ventures this weekend. Let's see. Rico writes in, Corley is getting the Andy dropping the toy from Toy Story treatment. I'd like to see Corley get the ball early in this game on Sunday, Nick. I think that'd be cool. Get him involved early, and he's going to be looking to run as hard as he did ever run after that play being the play that defined him so far this season.
I think we remember Kareem Hunt. His first carry in the NFL was a fumble on opening night for the Chiefs. And then he put up, 170, 180 yards of total offense in that game. The Chiefs just blew out the Patriots. Everyone was stunned. That's kind of what the Jets need to be able to do. They have to forgive a rookie for making a mistake. And it was a bad one. No one's denying it. But it's not good development if you're going to put this kid in the doghouse for one mistake like that. If that was the case and you want to be an accountable team and hold everyone accountable, then you need to acknowledge that most of these veterans probably should have been benched already.
Bang Mateo writes in, Antonio Pierce should get fired. These ex-players are jock head coaches who are not X's and O's guys. Pierce, D'Amico Ryans, etc. Lumping D'Amico with Pierce is ridiculous, Bang. Come on now.
I mean, D'Amico Ryans, as a player, I remember growing up, and I was getting into middle school when D'Amico Ryans was signing his contract with the Eagles to be the starting linebacker. And the one thing every reporter said was, this guy has got a coach's mind on the field. He's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but he is one of the best underrated linebackers in the game simply because he knows where everyone's going to be. He's a great leader, and he's a great understander of X's and O's. This is not the same player. This is not the same person with Antonio Pierce. I think that's a travesty to make that comparison.
Yeah, come on, man. Mr. Reality writes it with a super chat. For us, he cuts the line. We can't risk giving Corley downs in a must-win game.
Well, here's what I'll say. Do we even know what you have in him?
Right.
Do you even, that's my problem. You don't know what you have in the kid. And when you don't know what you have in the kid, you're essentially telling him that he's not good enough. We made a mistake drafting you after 1 year. It's such poor mismanagement from the organization if that were to be the case.
25 writes in, don't can Corley. It was stupid, but we won. I agree. Because they won, it is a teachable moment. Find a way to get him involved early. You don't want to destroy a rookie's confidence because you traded up for this guy. He was basically a late second-round pick. He was the first pick of the third round. Find a way to use him a little bit in this offense.
And again, yeah, they tried to trade up for him in the second round. They were doing everything they could to get him in round 2. And now all of a sudden they don't want to use him. Now all of a sudden he makes a mistake and we don't want to touch him. He's too raw. No. Deebo Samuel was extremely raw coming out of college, and the 49ers gave him plays in the offense to figure out and say, okay, let's see what you can do here. Let's see what you can do there. Give you some jet sweeps, give you some screens. They haven't given him that opportunity. The one time he gets that opportunity, he fumbles, and you're just willing to throw him out. I think that's just incredibly poor management by coaches if that's really what's going to happen.
Mr. Reality. Difference between D'Amico and Saleh is Stroud. I don't think that's totally fair. I think for a while I used to feel that way, but after just seeing how it all fell apart for Saleh, and even with a quarterback, a lot of these mistakes we saw last year weren't rectified. I think D'Amico deserves more credit.
He deserves more credit, but I do think it's fair because the Texans, for all that they have done well, for all that they have looked really solid, are kind of underachieving at this point this season. People thought they would be a lot better to this point. The offensive line hasn't looked very good. The defense has been dealing with injuries. They're still going to win the South. They're still a team that can contend for a championship. But I do think there is a conversation to be had that this is a Stroud difference. Stroud being a really good player helps D'Amico Ryans because it gives him some cash and defense to say, hey, my defense may not be as good as it was last year. The team may not be as dominant as it was last season, but I've got the quarterback, and that gives me extra time to figure it out. I think there's a lot more similarities here than people want to give it credit for, and Stroud is certainly probably the biggest difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jets beat reporter Nick Faria joining us in his weekly spot. Reminder, the show's available in podcast form, Apple or Spotify. Search The Jake Asman Show. You'll find it there. I want to thank our Patreon users, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Support me on Patreon. We're about 20 or so away from 500 Patreon members. Thank you to 8path, Jerry Moore, Jet Set Go, Nicholas F., Kevin Bracco, and Chris Coyle for being our most recent Patreon subscribers. Nick, Lane Train wants to know, is Woody Johnson leaving the Jets?
It's a big, big question. I mentioned earlier in the team's got a lot of questions about their future moving forward. The fact that Trump now wins the presidency, there could be a conversation, and it probably will be a conversation going forward, that he could be the next ambassador, the new ambassador for the United Kingdom again. And if that were to happen, Chris Johnson takes over. Well, what happens with Chris Johnson? Is he going to be forgiving of Joe Douglas? He's the one that brought him in to the fold to begin with. Will he say to Douglas, hey, you missed one, coach, see if you can get this other one right. You built a great team. We'll give you another chance here, and I'll work with you to find a new coach. There's a lot of questions in that regard. There's going to be a lot of cloudy futures ahead for the Jets, and definitely Woody Johnson and his future with this presidency is going to be at the forefront of it.
Jets 830 wants to know, Nick, are you door dashing?
No, I am not. I'm at the work.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Faria is not door dashing. He is on his way to teach the youth. Isn't that right, Nick?
Teach the youth. Absolutely. LIU Brooklyn. Going to be a great time.
A magical time. Professor Faria in the house helping the people. All right, we'll do a couple calls with Nick before we say goodbye. First up on the Gus Buster hotline is Ricky NY. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, how's it going, Jake? Good to see you early in the morning. And Nick, good to see you as well.
Great to see you, man.
I agree that they need to give Corley another shot. I probably wouldn't have put him right back out there either because that mistake does need to sink in, but it shouldn't go beyond that game. That game's over with. Moving forward, he does need more opportunities. And there's, man, I just gotta say, man, Bang Mateo, what on earth, man? Like D'Amico Ryans and Pierce are so different. Like he has so many bad takes, but that was a really bad one. And as far as players that have minds like coaches, I hope I'm still around in like 2035 when CJ Mosley is our coach, because he would be a good one. I think the way that he can get everybody lined up, the way that he can diagnose, what's going on the field. I think that he's got a future in coaching if he won one. But anyways, as far as this week, I'm very confident going into this week. I think that things started to click for us a little bit last week, and it's time to go on a run. It starts with Arizona. Then we got Joe Flacco in Indy.
That's right.
I'm not worried. I told everyone Anthony Richardson was a bum, and I was right. But yeah, we've got some winnable games. I mean, the Bills game is going to be tough, and the Rams game is going to be tough. Other than that, I think all of these games are winnable. Those games are winnable too. Those are the only hard ones, but we just got to take care of business. We got to win the games that we're supposed to win. That's all there is to it.
Ricky, are you bricked up?
No, I'm ricked up.
Ricky, yeah, baby.
Let's get bricked up.
Ricked up. All right. Well done, Ricky. Well done, sir. Let's say hello to the hamburger who's next with Nick Faria and Jake Asman on a earlier show than normal for those watching live. Appreciate everyone tuning in a little earlier. Grab that coffee, grab the energy. Maybe you put some cayenne pepper in the water to get you going today. I mean, how we feeling, hamburger?
Feeling all right today. Not too bad. What's up, Nick? How you
Hey,
doing,
no.
Jake? Good. I just want to touch on a few things. One is Corley. I think it's a little overreaction at this point on that they're not going to use Corley. The kid dropped on his first touch in the NFL. He gets a touchdown, and he drops it on the goal line. He had no business going back into that game whatsoever. He should sit and stew for the week. I am sure he's going to get plenty of targets. He might not get a lot of targets, but he'll get his chance this week. And just touching on Irv Charles for a minute, we saw him, I guess it was in the New England game on the goal line. We all said, what the hell is he doing out there, split out to the wide right? And I don't know, maybe they see something in him that he can go up and catch the pass. I don't know, but I expect he's going to have some more touches this week. And one other thing with culture, coming from being in the construction industry for 30 plus years, I've been a general foreman, I've been an assistant super, and now being in safety, working for one of the biggest companies around the globe, Skanska. Culture is everything. And culture is not easy to change. It takes time. So, maybe Ulbrich is changing the culture. Who are we to say yet? It's only been 3 games. It takes some time. So maybe he can change the culture. Maybe he can change the way the guys perform on the field a bit and have more faith in each other and get some consistency. But, I think we see with Corley is accountability. Maybe finally we're going to start getting some accountability out of this team. So with that being said, great segment, Nick, Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, the hamburger. Check it in. We're in the out tune.
I've got 2 points to that. First off, I'm not disagreeing about culture, but the culture is the same thing that Robert Saleh had. The culture is fine. It really is. The locker room is still together, even at 3-6. The problem is it's not being conducive to wins. They have to turn it into wins. And, Hamburger made the point about Malachi Corley, and he expects Corley to get more touches. This was his first touch since week 1, week 2? He hasn't gotten the ball. He hasn't gotten opportunities for the Jets. He's been a healthy scratch for most of this season. To me, I look at it and say, well, if the Jets are just going to put him in the doghouse because we do not know if he will or won't, that would be a colossal mistake for a young rookie to make one mistake and never get another opportunity again. That would be mismanagement of assets moving forward.
Nick, were you there when Malachi Corley spoke yesterday?
I was not.
So I just saw a tweet come across from Boy Green, who goes, Corley showed zero contrition for his boneheaded mistake that cost the Jets a touchdown. Quote, I have scored 200-plus touchdowns in my career, never once dropped the ball in the end zone, so there's not too many coaching points to take away from that. Just hold it another 6 inches. When asked if he was embarrassed by it, he responded, no, not at all. I mean, come on.
Here's my take to this. He's how old? 20, 21, 22, 23. He's still young. He's still a kid. In his mind, and the coaching staff, what they told Corley from the beginning was, do not forget this. Do not do this again. But you got to flush it out. You got to just move forward past it. I look at that situation as him trying to flush it out more than anything else.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gator McCluskey says, the crap king. Forget the yak king. Gator has coined him the crap king. Love it. Nick,
Too early, guys. Too early. Too early for the nicknames.
you know this fan base, how it works. You know.
Good Lord.
But we went on Sunday. Hey, now. Watch out.
Went on Sunday. Corley makes a magnificent catch for the game-winning touchdown. All of a sudden, all is forgiven. What? He didn't fumble at the goal line. That was clearly a conspiracy theory against him.
Real quick, final question for me. Just handicap this game for us Sunday. What are you expecting from the Jets?
It's very difficult because the Cardinals are an up-and-coming team that a lot of people are kind of overlooking. Arizona has played really, really well recently, and I think they could absolutely come away with a win here today. Right now, hard to imagine, but they lead the NFC West right now. It's pretty crazy to think about, but that's where the division is at this point. So I look at where Arizona is. The Jets should be able to win. They've got the matchups at corner. They've got the matchups inside. The Cardinals defense is good, but I look at Kaiser White as a really good cover linebacker, someone that Breece Hall should be able to take advantage of this upcoming week. And on the defensive side, it's about containing this Cardinals quarterback in Kyler Murray. Really good scrambler. Jets have had problems with scrambling quarterbacks for most of this season. Don't be surprised to see Jamie Sherwood as a spy, kind of like what he was for Josh Allen. He was pretty good in some of those situations as well. If they put a spy on Kyler Murray, I think they'll be successful. And as long as they stay healthy, the Jets should come away with the win, although it will be closer than most people expect.
You like the Jets to win?
I do. I think this stretch here, these next two games are ones that the Jets should be able to win, get to 5-6, go into the bye week with some momentum. Then the question is, okay, are these guys for real, or are these guys just the typical Jets where it's a sign of life, but the ultimate tease where they lose two in a row after that?
Wow. Nick, I'm surprised. I don't feel great about this game as a Jet fan, but I hope they surprise me. I've seen them lose this exact game how many times? So I want to see it to believe it.
I think that loss is coming after all I'm saying is I think that exact loss you're saying, it's coming immediately after the bye. They have been horrific after the bye in recent years. You know, they were 4-3. They go into the bye and they lose 6 in a row. And 2 years ago they had the bye and they have that Patriots game. There's just so many examples of this team really, really struggling after bye weeks. And it's incredible to think about that happens to an NFL team, but I think they get back into contention, and then the hearts are ripped out eventually in that one game after the bye week.
Nick, appreciate you doing this a little earlier than normal. Good stuff as always, and enjoy your day teaching the youth. Professor Faria, baby.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Nick Faria, Athland Sports Jets beat reporter, with us there in his weekly spot. We are seeking some channel memberships. I'm going to get the membership right now, pay it forward to the people. So if you want to become an official Asmaniac, here's your chance. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like the video. And someone is going to be randomly selected to get a membership if you gift a channel membership. And it goes to Tom Ace. It goes to Rich. It goes to a heavy hitter Asmaniac who is without a channel membership. We will send you an item in the Jake Asman merch store. So what I'm going to do right now is gift a channel membership for one lucky listener. Let's see. You know what? Screw it. I'm gifting 5 right now. Why not? Let's do a 5 spot. Let's make it rain on this show. We're starting a little earlier. I'm headed to Montreal after this. Boom. 5 spot. Channel memberships gifted. Let's see who got one. If you hear your name called, you're an Asmaniac. Edwin Ed G. Garcia, Rob Grinnell, Azuma 76, Mitt Flair, and Jug Artist all receiving channel memberships. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Click on my name if you're in the chat. Hit the setting that says, I want to receive a gifted membership, and you got a chance to get one. Austrian Jet Fan has gifted 1 channel membership. AJ Driscoll, the recipient of the channel membership. Let's do a little membership tag here. You gifted. We shout you out. Appreciate everyone for their support. For those who missed it yesterday, Joe Douglas spoke. Nick and I just talked about it a little while ago. Here's the best of JD from yesterday. Spoke for about 10 minutes. Here's a little 2 minutes of Douglas from yesterday. I got more thoughts on this.
Just what are your thoughts just about how this season is broke down and just everything that's happened, that's taken place?
Obviously not where anyone envisioned us being right now at 3-6, coming out of training camp. But I do think after Thursday night game, the way we finished that game, the way we came out in the second half, I think Brick had a great message to the team on Monday, just saying, like, look, guys, none of this started the way we wanted to start it, but we still have everything in front of us. Every goal we want to accomplish is still out in front of us, and so it starts with a tough opponent in Arizona this weekend.
We haven't talked to you since, I think, right before the season started. You mentioned Robert. What was your feeling about that? Did you agree with that decision?
Yeah, I know Woody spoke afterwards. I don't really have anything to add, any comment to add. All I can say is that since that decision's been made, all my energy, all my focus has been doing whatever I can to help Brick, his staff, in the locker room turn this thing around. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Are you concerned about your future with the team, Joe?
No. I come in here every day. Just want to do whatever I can to help this team reach its goals, gets to its destination, and whatever happens.
Have you talked to Woody about your future?
Woody and I talk every day. I'm not going to get into details about any of our conversations, but singular focus right now is the Cardinals and trying to improve on this record.
Joe, what have you observed about your interim head coach?
Oh yeah, Brick. Brick is he has a unique ability to make really authentic connections with everyone. Obviously, him being a former player, a guy that's gone through a lot of adversity and overcome a lot of adversity. I think he really speaks authentically to the players, and I think you've heard it said by some of our players on other shows or broadcasts, but he's a real dude, and I think that comes through the way that he communicates, not only one-on-one but with the entire group.
I mean, you listen to that, and I know Joe Douglas never has a ton of energy, but I mean, he just sounds defeated. He does. Now, I'm not going to sit there and act like even when the Jets were winning, Douglas was like a rah-rah guy. But he does sound like a defeated guy. Now, I'll say this. If they do go on a run, I think he can survive. But the question with Joe that no one knows the answer to, he has no contract beyond this year. Does he want to stay here? Now, I would think if you're a GM in the NFL and an organization is offering you a chance to continue to be a GM in the NFL, you would stay, because there's not that many jobs in the NFL to be a GM. There's 32 of them. And if he leaves the Jets, there's no guarantee he ever gets another opportunity to be a GM again. But his contract's up. If he doesn't like working for Woody, didn't like the fact that he had no say in Saleh being fired, he could just get up and leave. He could. But I think more likely than not, you had to take a guess what happened. It's that his contract's up and then the Jets are starting over. But I do think that scenario I talked about with Nick, 9-8, but they missed the playoffs. You then could sell it. Well, the team was talented enough. They just need the coach. But then my big thing is then Joe gets to pick the coach when he hired the last one that wasn't good. So I don't know. It just kind of feels like more likely than not, we could be looking at new GM, new coach. Rodgers might be back, but we still could be talking about a new quarterback from the standpoint of, hey, you're looking to draft one in the first round. 25 writes in. He's on the hot seat. Why did he not get as a DT? My understanding, checking in on this, they tried to bring back Quentin Jefferson, but he went to the Bills because the Bills are 7-2. Or whatever the Bills' record is. Are they 7-2? Let's see. They are 7-2. Yep. I mean, I think he still should have found a way to add like someone else, but I think that's what happened. Mr. Reality with a super chat. JD stays. Woody making him Woody making him sweat dangle the carrot. Thank you for that one, Mr. Reality. All right. If it's a super chat, I'll read it, man. All right. I have maple syrup, Canadian bacon, poutine to enjoy. I need all the super chat money I can get. Ladies and gentlemen, warning in advance for the guy we're about to hear from on the show. All right. Warning in advance. We're on earlier than we normally are. So it might be too early for some of you to deal with this guy. So I'm providing a warning for everyone out there. We say hello to this guy. SEAL Team 75, assemble.
The Clapping Seals, they're alive and well in the chat.
Hello, Gary.
Hey, Jake. You're going to Montreal?
I am.
Montreal's a cool city. I like Montreal. Really good boxing scene up there, Jake. Cool city.
I've never been. I'm
Montreal.
excited.
It's a good city, man. It's a cool city. I don't know. Is it cold there already? I've never been there in the winter, but it's not really the winter.
It's like in the 50s right now.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Montreal's a really, really cool city. The best of Joe Douglas. That's how you reference that. That is comical. The best of Joe Douglas. I had just like a question on that, and I don't have.
It's hard to hear you, Gary. You're in an airport. There's announcements going on.
I know, like they're being rude, aren't they? Like I'm trying to talk to Jake Asman. Does any GM ever kept his job as long as Joe Douglas with that bad of a record? Is he the worst GM ever to keep his job for whatever it's been, 93 games or whatever?
Someone said
worse than that?
Matt Millen, I think, was worse. But I mean, Douglas getting 100 games without having a winning record. I mean, the idea that, you could criticize the Jets for a lot, but like one of the knocks is, they'll just fire you quick. They don't have any patience. That's not true. Look how many years Joe Douglas has been here.
I think this is a Sean Marks thing. I'm not going to be surprised if he's back. I don't think there's anything he can do to get fired. I'm being honest. I think you act like, do you think he wants to be here? What do you think? There are other teams knocking down his door to be their GM? It's the only job he's got. Of course he wants to be here. Like, and I think this is Sean Marks. I think the owner loves him, and I think he's just going to be here.
No matter what, he's here. They finished with 6 wins. Do you think he's back next year?
Yep.
He will not be. He won't.
Okay. I mean, hopefully we don't have to find out. Hopefully they make the playoffs. This is an extremely confident 3-6 team, and I kind of like it. I mean, this team still believes they can make the playoffs. That's what I'm saying, and that's a good thing. And the other thing I want to say is, look, my boy Malachi Corley. That's a terrible answer. I like Corley. I want to see more of him. Yes, you were embarrassed. You're ashamed. You'll never do it again. It's 100% my fault. That's the answer you want to hear. It was an incredibly stupid thing to do. And as long as you never do it again, we'll never speak of it again. If you ever do it again, we're going to have serious problems. Like, it's a horrible, stupid mistake. Never do it again. That's the answer.
Where are you flying to, Gary?
I'm in Atlanta right now. I'm flying in Norfolk, Virginia, for the Keyshawn Davis fight.
Big boxing bout.
Yeah. I'm going to meet up with Johnny Boy, I think.
Do knockouts matter if you land enough jabs?
Knockouts matter. Knockdowns might not if you land enough jabs, but knockouts would matter.
Okay.
That would be the end of the fight. What brings you to Montreal?
Bachelor party.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It's a good city. Good city for bachelor parties.
That's what I hear.
Enjoy yourself. How you going for the weekend?
I'll be back. I'll be back
Or
early
Sunday.
Sunday for Jets football.
Have a good time, Jakes. Montreal
Gary,
is a
thank
top-notch
you.
city. Be good.
I appreciate it.
I'm not going to do the clapping seal part.
What do you mean?
I do want to, but I'm not going to do it because Gator's going to use it out of context, and then it's going to go viral, and then I'm going to have to look at it forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gary. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation. NYJ writes in, if Joe Douglas comes back with only 6 wins this season, that would be true Montreal screw job. Well played. I don't think he's back if they win 6. I disagree with Gary on that. I'm just saying I think there's a scenario for 9-8, don't make the playoffs, he's back. Or 8-9, but the arrow's trended up and he's back. I don't think it's as foregone of a conclusion as some think that the GM's gone no matter what. He did look like a dead man walking yesterday, though. NYJ wrote, Joe Douglas looks like he's getting ready for the face the firing squad. Like that's kind of what it looked like. BC sounds like he knows his job's on the line. Yep, I agree with that. Kyle Clifton with a super chat. Packing for Arizona, LFG. Hey. Bring us home a win, Kyle. Bring it home. Peter says, Jake don't want to go. No, I want to go on the bachelor party. I'm excited. I'm ready to go, Peter Castro. In fact, I'm bringing my equipment so I still could do a show tomorrow at some point, maybe in the morning again. So we'll still have content on the channel tomorrow. Wanted to make sure we got a show in early today. Plus, I know Boy Green is, he just had another kid, so he's off all week. So Paul's not doing his usual early morning show. So to the Boy Green audience, we'll fill the void. Neil with a $20 super chat. Add a penny, and here is a lap dance on me. We can only imagine what Neil was like during bachelor parties. You know what? I did hear some stories about Neil, though, from the Asmaniacs who made the Vegas trip last year on some activities that happened. I mean, Neil, I'm ready, man. All right, I just got to exchange all my cash here for some Canadian dollars. This was Neil last year in Vegas, though. Appreciate it, Neil. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Oh, Boy Green had a show this morning? I didn't realize that. That's good to hear. I was texting with him the other day. Salem says, no playoffs, no JD. I tend to agree. I'm just warning everyone who says, make the playoffs or he's gone. The owner came out and said it's the most talented team he believes the Jets have had since he's owned the team. That's 25 years. You also just saw a trade yesterday by Douglas where they got a 5th-round pick in next year's draft. Why would Joe make that deal if he's not going to be here, if he doesn't think he has a chance of being here? Why not just hold on to Mike Williams? Also, how much is I'm asking for a friend here, obviously. How much is a lap dance in Canada? How do the prices compare to the U.S. strip clubs? Dalton says, I think they do one more year. I think it depends on the final record for the Jets. I do. Ryan says, JD will be back. Maybe. I'm like in between the he's gone no matter what crowd and he's definitely coming back crowd. It's amazing how people can have such strong opinions on the opposite end there. Peter Castro, Mike couldn't stay on the red line. No, he could not. We now learn what the red line is, though. So that's good. Rich, hit the like. Can we get Rich a membership, man? Someone gift Rich a membership right now, and we'll send you whatever you want from the merch store. You want a coffee cup? You want a hoodie? You want a hat? T-shirt? Needs to happen. ISU writes in 3-6, but should be 6-3 if the kicker had just done his job. And 3 of those 6 losses. So damn frustrating thinking about those games, but it's a new day, so never backwards, always forwards. I mean, that's really all you could do if you're the Jets at this point. But they put themselves in such a hole. If they just had one more win right now, I think the whole tenor and outlook of the season would feel differently. 25. How the F do we stop the run this week? I don't know if we can. Well, gap discipline, the biggest thing. You got to execute the fundamentals. The Jets have stopped the run at times this year. They're not the worst team in the NFL against the run. It feels that way because we hyper focus on the Jets. But if you look at the Jets, where they rank against the run in the NFL, it's like slightly below average, I believe. I think they're in the early 20s. Let me pull it up. Jets against the run are 21st. There's 32 teams in the league. So they're not good against the run, but they're not the worst in football. They've shown moments where they could stop the run. I think it comes down to discipline, gap integrity. And look, here's what will help the Jets be able to stop the run on Sunday. The Jets offense goes out there and scores. Build a lead on Arizona. Put them in a spot where they got to be one-dimensional. They got to throw. That could help your defense too. Peter says, Jake, JD going nowhere. I am never wrong. Well, Peter, you did think the Jets were going to go 14-3 this year, no?
The biggest mistake they made is not firing this whole crew of shitheads before the season started. The coaches can't make decisions. They don't correct anything. I mean, this is a joke.
Peter Castro, always optimistic about his Jets.
Furline, he stinks. Get him out of here. Aaron Rodgers, he's as bad as Simeon. He's not going to get better. He's 41 with a bad leg. He's terrible.
Incredible. Gator says, based on the Halloween doink, are we comfortable with our new kicker? No. I'm not comfortable with any Jet kicker. I always assume the worst. I'm a Jet fan. I will say at least he hit the other extra points in conventional factors, conventional ways. Ricky says, did Jake just segue from lap dances to gap discipline? Oh, that's funny, Ricky. I did, by the way, man. You know, find me a content creator on this site that has more range than me. All right. Speaking of discipline, that can be applied when you go into a strip club. All right. Some of you guys. All right. You got to remember, she doesn't actually like you. She just wants your money. All right. That's rule number 1 of going to a strip club. She doesn't actually like you. She likes your money. Even if it's fake money. You think fake money like this would work in a strip club? I don't know. Anyway. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation. If you're a first-time caller, we will bring you in immediately on the show. Quick reminder for those who are unaware, if you've been living under a rock, that Huga House has 6 brand new hats that are available. They probably will sell out fast. So just another reminder, promo code Asman, HugaHouse.com, and get your hat today. Ryan writes in, defensive ends need to not over-pursue and contain Kyler on the edges. That's honestly what I'm most concerned about him, scrambling or extending plays outside the pocket. Yeah, look, Kyler's had a nice year, too. He's played well. You know, the Jets have had extra time to prepare for him, though. With Salah, that was a death sentence. Can we see what it looks like now with Ulbrich? Addison, Quincy on McBride the whole damn game. Quincy might spy a couple times, too. I think you need the Jet linebackers need to have big games on Sunday. I do think that's a key. Peter Castro. Kyler Murray will set a new NFL record for running. Peter, very optimistic about the Jets. Man. Who's more positive than the Peter Castro? Nobody.
Our coaching staff stinks. The team is never prepared. They're undisciplined. They make a million mistakes. And the coaching staff is terrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. Hackett and him are like having two drug addicts on the sidelines. They're no good. And if Rodgers doesn't fix this, we're all going to kill ourselves. What happens after Rodgers? They have no plan for that. It's going to be 10 more years of being the shit.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Rodgers is healthy. We got some encouraging news yesterday. He's not on the injury report for the first time since week 4. That matters. Sco with a super check. And Sauce tackle a little more, please. He's never going to be a great tackler. They do need more from him. I really think after rewatching that game, Sauce is playing through something, man. He just doesn't look healthy. He still should catch the easy picks if they hit him in the hands. And he's not an awful corner this year. I think, like, saying he stinks. He's not, like, you're not watching, man. Right? He's not. But we can no longer say he's the unquestioned best corner in the league based off of this year. But the idea that they should trade him or get rid of him, like, no, you're not being rational. But yeah, I mean, he needs to improve his tackling. I wonder if, like, he's almost like hesitant to tackle because he's playing through something. Like, that's what it looks like. Uh, 25. Get Peter on the line. Peter, call in. The Asmaniacs want to hear from you. Bonesy, we need to keep Kyler in the pocket. Amen. I feel like I'm missing a super chat here. Let me make sure I'm not. I don't know if I am. I'll stay on a little while longer here. Last chance to get in. A little earlier show than normal due to my travel schedule for those who got here late. Let's see. Sco with a super chat. I think Sauce is dealing with a lower body injury. Well, remember he had the shoulder week 1 against the Niners. He came out and missed a little time. I think it's gonna be one of those years where we hear about Sauce playing through something after the season ends. That's just my vibe on it. More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. You ask, and you shall receive.
The biggest mistake they made is not firing this whole crew of shitheads before the season started. The coaches can't make decisions. They don't correct anything. I mean, this is a joke.
Peter Castro. Oh, no, Peter, you're in the hospital?
Yeah.
What's wrong? The Jets are going to kill you?
Yeah. Jets did kill me.
Are you okay?
Hey, I'll be all right.
All right. Well, I didn't realize you were calling us from the hospital, Peter. I feel bad saying you got to call in.
Well, I was sitting here listening to it anyway. But anyway, if you think the Jets are going to win this week, you're out of your mind. All right? They make no adjustments. None. They play the same defense every week. Ulbrich, the only reason why we look good against Houston is because they play the same defense as we do. So we're pretty used to practicing against that. But I don't see them stopping Murray. They can't stop any quarterback. They can't stop what's his name? Shroud ran all over him. Bissett ran all over them. I mean, they're dumb. They're a dumb team, not coached properly. Never be coached properly as long as you got this regime. I want them all out. Joe Douglas is not going to go out, though, because he's in tight with Woody. Very tight. Otherwise, he would have been out of here already.
After yesterday hearing that, you think he's still in tight with Woody?
Oh, hey, listen. He's beat down. You know, Woody smacked him around a little bit because he screwed up. You know, so now he's like walking around with he sounds very down and depressed. But he should be. He should be down and depressed. I mean, he's the one that hired the jerk to start with. So, I mean, if I was him, I'd be really depressed. But that's all right. You know, if you look at the game, like even last week, okay, Corley made a mistake. You got to put him back in. What are you going to do? Bench him forever now? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I'd get him involved early on Sunday. Like give him an end around early in the game or something, or screen.
And how about get Gibson out of there? Gibson's no good.
What are your thoughts on Herb Charles? Rodgers wants more Herb Charles.
I don't care what Rodgers wants. I had enough of him too. Every time he throws the ball and somebody catches it, he's kissing him on the sidelines. But if it's not one of his plays, you don't want to know. I don't like what I see. Garrett Wilson is a great player. He caught a ball 10 feet over his head. All right, he made a great catch and everything else. But how many players are going to do that? Going to make that kind of a catch? I mean, he throws it to Garrett Wilson, but Davante Adams make a catch and they're on the sidelines tongue kissing. It's ridiculous. Watch what he does when Davante Adams scored.
I mean, that was a huge catch he made. It was a clinching touchdown. It was their first one.
Yeah, I know.
Together.
They make me want to vomit. All right.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. Just congratulate him and go back. It makes the rest of the team feel like they're not wanted.
Ralphie wrote in, see what being a Jets fan does to our health. Have the Jets contributed to you being in this hospital bed right now?
Probably. You know what? They make me sick. They really do. When I watch them, I get I can't believe all the mistakes they make.
What were your thoughts on that first half last week? What was it like in the Castro household watching that?
I was thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? Then he drops the ball on the 1 yard line. I was like, I would have ripped his head off on the sideline. I would have sat him out the rest of the game. But you got to put the guy back in. Let him return kicks. Put him in for a few plays. Make a few packets. He looked good in that run, except for dropping the ball. But it's just embarrassing. It's like, who's coaching these guys? I don't know who's coaching them. One's worse than the other. One coach on that sideline is worse than the other.
If the Jets win, Peter, what would be your reaction to them actually winning on Sunday?
Listen, I always want them to win, but they're not gonna.
But what if they do?
They're not gonna. They're not gonna win. I can guarantee it. With a quarterback that runs like him, unless Rodgers goes wild, and I don't see that either, because he's not only is the team getting off to a slow start, so is he. Every week he's slow.
He's healthy now. Now he's not on the injury report. 9 days to get ready inside a dome on Sunday, playing on grass. I think he's having a big game.
He's one hit away from not being healthy.
That's every quarterback.
Yeah, but Rodgers is 41 and kind of rickety. Not as mobile as I thought I was going to say. But hey, listen, what
did you think of that scramble last week? He picked up the first down. Then Olu had the penalty, but that was impressive on 3rd and 9. Took a big hit, fired him up. You were fired up when you saw that. Come on, Peter.
I thought he was gonna get killed. Jake, the right move. I'm gonna give you the right move for the Jets to make.
Let's hear it.
Get Justin Fields from Pittsburgh. Put him in there. Let him back up Rodgers. Let him take over, and then draft another quarterback behind him. The Jets with Justin Fields would be great. And a coach.
He can't throw. I don't know about that. Well, Pittsburgh benched Justin Fields, and they were 4-2.
He had to because they paid the other guy so much money.
He's on the minimum. Russell Wilson's making no money. That's not why. Tomlin just thought Russ was better.
I don't think he's better. He'll find out. Justin Fields will wind up back in.
Peter, Justin Fields guy. All right. Well, Peter, I just want you to get better. All right. We're honored that you would still call us from the hospital bed.
Yeah, it's great being here.
Hang in there, all right?
Thanks. Take care, Jake. Have fun in your bachelor party.
I appreciate it. All the love to the great Peter Castro.
Furline, he stinks. Get him out of here. Aaron Rodgers, he's as bad as Simeon. He's not going to get better. He's 41 with a bad leg. He's terrible.
Incredible. Justin Fields, come on. I do think if Rodgers is here next year, though, they should do part of your plan, Peter. They should draft the quarterback in the first round and let that guy sit. The last time the Jets actually had a first-round quarterback sit was Pennington, and it worked. Try it. I'm still laughing at Ralphie's comment. See what being a Jets fan does to our health? Oh, yeah. Henny, week 16 when they let Corley return a kickoff touchdown. Make him the kickoff returner this week. My assessment after watching the kickoff is that it's basically a giant running play. So let Corley do it, and then if you want to leave Gibson on punt returns because You trust his hands, fine. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation. Bonesy says Jordan Travis is our future. I hope. A lot of people in the chat saying feel better to Peter, get well. That's right. It will be Peter, you better call the post-game show if the Jets win. I mean, just the way Peter's like, they won't win. They got no chance. So what if they do, Peter? When will you start to believe? We know Neil believes. Peter, I hope all is well. I have Ulbrich coming to visit you in Solid. The Jets had said Peter some flowers to the hospital, man. Oh, man. John, what did I miss with Peter? If you tuned in late, Peter just called us from the hospital. Bomber says the QB nobody is talking about is right on this team. Jordan Travis will be great. Remember I said this. I hope. I don't know, though. He's day 3 pick. I'm not expecting much from Jordan Travis. And he's out for the year, by the way. Samini confirmed that on his podcast. There's like no, he'll be cleared to start playing this week. And like, they're out of it. They could play. It's not going to happen. It is a true redshirt year for the Jets' 5th round pick. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Super chats going to the Jake Asman going on his first ever bachelor party fund. Let's see. John says, get well, Peter. There you go. Rich, we haven't successfully developed a quarterback, I think, since Pennington. That's why I would sit whoever they end up taking if they go quarterback in round 1 behind Rodgers for a year. Because I really do think Rodgers is here next year. I know a million things could change based on how the rest of the year goes, but I think he's here next year. And more proof of that, by the way, listen very closely to what Davante was saying about Ulbrich. I think Davante wants to be here next year, too, with Rodgers. And you look at the restructure of Davante's deal, I think both guys are here next year. I do.
You like your coach, yeah? We're going to...
I love my coach.
I need to know a little bit more about him. What can you tell him? What sets him apart?
He's just a real dude.
Huh.
It's almost like he's too real for TV, which is he's when he gets at the podium, he has to do it like a coach, and I mean this in the most respectful and in best way possible. Like I love talking to him. I love the way he talks to the team. Love the way he holds guys accountable. I love the way he just goes about his job, man. It makes it more like a family type vibe than just a guy that has that position, and that's how you get guys to play for you. And I'd love if he was my coach moving forward. That's for sure. I mean, I've only been here for a short time, but Brick is a real dude, man, and I got a ton of respect for him already.
I mean, I'm telling you, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is one of the all-time greats. The great King Loski's next. What's up, King?
Jake, my brother. It's
Look at that
early
shirt.
morning.
Look at that shirt.
Hey, yes, sir. Go get your Jake Asman merch, baby. You already know what's going on. Jake done put me on the t-shirt, baby. I got to represent, baby. Hey, but let me just say this, man. It's always good to see you even early in the morning, my brother. Let me just say this, man. At the end of the day, we just got to take it game by game. I hear all of the talk, all of the noise, all of the suggestions, what we should do here, how we should coach it. All we got to do is win damn games, okay? I don't care nothing about what these doggone Arizona Cardinals got on the other side of the ball, okay? At the end of the day, That's a doggone 5'9" quarterback in that doggone backfield, okay? We cannot get beat by this little midget out here on this field, okay? At the end of the day, man, y'all put some foot in Arizona ass, okay? I don't care nothing about, oh, they got these weapons. They got this James Conner run game. Doggone it, stop it, okay? Stop it. It's as simple as that. You get in that doggone backfield and you stop it, all right? I don't want to hear nothing about, what we did against this team and this. You take it game by game, one at a time, okay? I'm fired up, man, all right? I know I ain't called in a minute, and it's cool. Because at the end of the day, I gotta regather myself. I gotta regroup. Because if I just give all of this energy throughout the week, I ain't gonna have none left for the game. Okay? So I just need to conserve my energy because I feel it, Jake. I feel this run is about to take flight, baby. It's about to take flight. I still got faith. I ain't went nowhere. If you caught me last night on the AFC East roundtable, you'll see I ain't go no damn well. Okay? I'm still here, baby. And it's still James Let's go, baby. Woo!
Yeah, baby. The king is back. Love it. Love it. Loski. How about going for Peter Castro to King Loski? Two opposite ends of the Jet perspective, the Jet fan psyche. Great take from Brandon. Cardinals can't fly as high as Jets. He's right. He's right. Also, I'll give you this, Brandon. Well played. Let's go. Look, if Jeff Ulbrich needs some energy this morning, just watch back that call, coach.
Let's get brick up.
Yeah. Look, one game at a time. They obviously it depends how they win, right? But if they win this game and Rodgers looks good and it's like what we saw in the second half against Houston was not a mirage, how do you not feel good about this team coming home against Indy? That's the big thing. Neil saying this will be a coming out party for Reddick, Davante, and Corley. I mean, Reddick and Davante, I felt like had their coming out last week. No, Neil? Davante had a huge fourth down catch to move the chains. He had the touchdown to put the game away. Reddick, he's only played 2 games, but he was good last week. Had a sack. Had a lot of pressures. They do need a big Reddick game, though. I agree. And Reddick has to be good against the run. That's what we need. Let's see. Let's get to this super chat here. And as Maniac super chat from Marcus. Thank you, Marcus. Marcus, this is for you.
Playoffs?
Yeah, baby. Jake, you should try and check out a CFL game whilst you're over there. There's probably plenty of ex-Jets playing there. Is there a CFL game going on in Montreal this weekend? I haven't paid any attention. We were going to try and see a Canadians game, but they're not in town. Cardozo wants a huge game from Brees. I take full credit that Brees has a big game. Many are saying Brees running into me in the West Village last week directly contributed to his success. Many are saying it. Many, many people. Tom says Montreal Expos game. Yeah, that'd be fun. Montreal should get a baseball team again, though. They really should. Let's see. Y'all get a slice. Yes, we did. Brees and I came together, and we said, let's go to the West Village. Let's go to Joe's Pizza. And let's get ourselves a real New York slice. Now, you guys know my favorite place for an authentic New York slice is Sbarro's, just like Michael Scott. But Joe's Pizza, we settled for Joe's instead of Sbarro's. Lenny writes in, went to Montreal many years ago for a bachelor party. If it's anything like that still, don't promise a show tomorrow morning unless you plan on doing it drunk or high. I'll keep that in mind. We'll definitely have a post-game show Sunday. So check the Discord for updates about a potential show for tomorrow and a potential show Saturday. Want to make sure we didn't miss any super chats here. I don't believe we did. Bomber, no more talking. Prove it. Great. Agreed. I mean, as fun as the second half was on Thursday, I've said it all week now. Doesn't it feel like the Jets played like months ago, their last game? It's only been a week. Crazy. But as fun as that second half was, it doesn't mean anything unless they go and win on Sunday now. Like winning one game, awesome. Go do it now. Consecutive weeks. Show us something. That's really it. Larry says Jets will win. Don't worry. I hope you're right. Harvey says, how do I use my Discord for merch? Go to the merch website, which is jakeasman.com. And Harvey, as a Patreon member, the discount code is pinned on the dashboard of Patreon. And just use that discount code at checkout. And boom, you'll save 15% on every item in there, included in your Patreon membership. Ryan says Stigger's CFL team is playing. That is cool. I just don't think I have any time to see a CFL game. We have too many strip clubs we're going to, casinos. What you do on these sort of things, I hear. Harvey says, I need merch. Harvey, I can assist you. All right. We'll show you how it's done right now. I'll do a live tutorial on the air before we wrap. Stand by, Harvey. Here's how it's done. You go to jakeasman.com. All right, that's step one. I'll even show you on the screen how it's done. Here we go. Ready? jakeasman.com. While you're there, you then hit the shop button. It takes you to the wonderful merch store where you can get any of these items. Harvey, let's say you want to get yourself a Jake Asman Show hoodie. Well, you go here. You select the color. You select the size. Hoodies run small, so for the perfect fit, we recommend you order one size larger than your usual size. Harvey, you seem like a large, so we're going to order you an XL. You hit add to cart. You go to the cart. You check out, and boom, you put in your info, and you're ready to roll. It is that easy. So check it out. jakeasman.com. We got tank tops. We have all sorts of shorts. Drinkware has been a big seller. The coffee mugs are huge hits. You want a lane train mug, Harvey? It's all here for you. Bobby Midnight merch. We have the t-shirt and we have the Coffee mug. I wore this on election day. Bobby Midnight 2024. Check it out. Mr. McMoney. Okay, or Harvey says, okay, I signed it and made an account. Great. Mr. McMoney, Jake, can you show Harvey your credit card info? He might need a tutorial on that. Password chicken soup, all lowercase. It was back in the day. Hey. So it's that easy, folks. Thanks to everyone who bought merch when we launched the store in July. Anyway, I got time for one last call potentially here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill when this guy calls in. Sing along.
B-Mac. Look at my TV. B-Mac. I love Aaron Rodgers. Jets. Go Jets.
B-Mac?
Hey, Jake. Good morning to you. First of all, I think Jets fans and Jets Nation needs to have some more, needs to have more positivity and more confidence. Like Rogers said, to win 8 in a row, you have to get one. They got one. So if you're the Jets, just go in with that 1-0 mentality, every single week. And I think that they can beat the Cardinals. I don't think that the Cardinals is this, unbeatable team that people think. I think they are. They're not the Chiefs, they're not the Ravens. Of a W, it's gonna be a close game, but I do think they will come out victorious. And just take it, just have that 1-0 mentality every week. And if the Jets go, do that, then I think they can make some noise.
It's easier said than done, for one. And two, the reason why a lot of Jet fans aren't confident is the history of this team this year. Last time they won a Thursday night game and looked good, they lost 5 in a row. And two, in Jet history, they have a great win and then come out flat and lose the next week. It's happened a lot. It's happened a lot with this regime. And also, they seemingly never win on the West Coast. When was the last time the Jets won a West Coast game?
Yeah, I get it, but I think like you remember like in 2022, like with Rodgers, we were bad in mid-year. We had that horrible stretch. We lost 5 in a row, and then we went on a streak. We won 4 in a row. Now I know we lost that last game to Detroit, but we were still right there. And then all we need to do is just beat Detroit, and we in the playoffs. So I do. So that's what I'm trying to say. I do think this game, this team can get on a streak. I just think that what matters is, can they close the deal? So,
B-Mac, all the love.
B-Mac. Hey, you hater guy. Allen sucks and JJ can kiss my ass before I wipe.
Well said, B-Mac. Well said.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas.
That's going to be me if the Jets run the table like the 2016 Packers did. Wow, Peter Castro, not a B-Mac fan. From the hospital going in on B-Mac. Cut, fraud. B-Mac, Packer fan fraud. Damn. Peter Castro taking his anger out on B-Mac. Unreal. All right. Thank you all for your support. Fun show this morning. Appreciate you guys getting up early to watch it if you tuned in live. Nick Faria joined us for the first 45 minutes, I think it was. So get his thoughts on yesterday's Douglas presser, what Davante said, all that and more. I doubt we have a show later today, so we're giving you one early. I will try and do one tomorrow at some point, but I got a flight to catch to Canada. So thank you all for your support. Best community in sports. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you to all the Jet fans. Reminder, normal postgame show Sunday following Jets Cardinals, so be on the lookout for that. Once again, my name is Jake Asman. It's been the Jake Asman Show. Join the Patreon if you haven't. We're looking for more members, about a 20 away from 500. Gain access to the Discord, bonus shows, all that and more for less than a cup of coffee a month. Plus, you sign up for the entire year, you save 15%, so it's even cheaper than $5 a month if you just sign up for the year. Again, thank you all. Couldn't do it without you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. JETS, 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 Jets.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is none other than Chiefs fan. Hello, Chiefs fan.
Yo, last night I was outside talking and I walked over and checked on my neighbor and I found out my neighbor passed away in his lawn chair. So
this call was not going where I thought it was going. Chiefs
well,
fan. I'm not gonna lie to you.
the old man had bladder problems. Let's just say that he was 90s. He didn't take his medication, and he was going to smoke a cigar with me, but he wasn't there.
Is it a real story?
This is a real story.
And he passed away on his lawn chair in the middle of the Super Bowl.
Walked inside of his house, checked on his dog, poured a shot of vodka, and I'm like, this isn't going to be enough. Chugged about 1/4 of the vodka that we usually drink. I'm like, the old man had to die during the big game. But yeah, I was happy we won.
Yeah. Hey, Chiefs fan, congrats on the Super Bowl win, man. I don't know what to say. I figured this was going to be a celebratory call for the great Chiefs fan, and it was not that. More of your calls right now. Well, the Buffalo Jet fans on the line.
Hey, Jake. Hey, guy that has the same background I got. I wanted to show you a little bit about my studio. I never get to show you my studio. My microphone, for example, with the pretty colors. It's not the only thing it does. Here, watch when I hit this button. It's got the nice Jets logos that come up through it. And then I press this button. And you got the dancing girls, right? Yeah. That's good. And then my chalkboard, of course, I never reference it ever. It's always here. It's got my initials on it. And this is a play that I used to run with my friends back in high school. But really, it's also my escape portal. I can show you. Watch.
You don't have to come and confess that you did it. We're looking for you. We gonna find you. I'm letting you know now. Obviously, we have a rapist. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids.
No, he's back. I'm sorry. I gotta go.
Undefeated, man. I can't believe you didn't get to my Joe Rogan looking monkey painting over here.
Oh my God. I don't know how he does that either. Like, I've been using StreamYard for 3 years doing the show. I have no idea how to do any of that stuff. He just did.
And he's one of one.
I see Lane Kerner goes, I have questions for you, Buffalo fake fan. Gator says, could someone ask Buffalo Jet fan next week why he has a chalkboard that he never uses? Bonesy writes in, I'm still laughing at Gator hitting the switch with the girls dancing, then acknowledging the chalkboard. That was so good.
The Jets are going to come back. No, they're not. They're never going to come back. They're never going to come back. I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.